Heavenly Father, as we come before you this morning with gratitude, with appreciation for life, for health, for strength, for our voices this morning, Lord Father, we ask that you would bless and guide this session, that you would lead everyone to freedom to be able to express themselves, to be able to share, to be able to pour into this session, that we might have a fun, interactive, and helpful session, Lord. Recognize that Shine is a whole new take on a program that we might have been in before or we might be new to, but there is something in today for everyone. And I pray that we are all in a position to receive it, that we have good internet, we have charged devices and electricity, and that we have a fun, great, relaxing, enjoyable, and educational session this morning. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen and amen.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Ricardo. So I'm looking for faces. Jane, Clarice, Jada, Nathaniel. We have Nathaniel and Dominica. Tahiri. Faith. Where are you from?
Trinidad.
Faith from Trinidad. Faith, we're not seeing your face. Faith joined us at 9:30 when I logged on this morning. Faith was there waiting, anxiously waiting to come in. You excited, Faith?
Miss, my camera is not working.
Oh, your camera's not working. Okay. You excited for today's session?
Yes.
All right. What about Bouncy Mania? Is that something that interests you?
Yes, Miss.
It does? Okay. So you'll be our second ticket winner for this weekend. Okay, Faith?
Yes, Miss.
Okay. Lovely.
Woohoo!
So Faith will be our next winner for the second week. Faith
Congratulations, Faith.
Simon. Yay! Faith logged in early o'clock, 9:30 waiting. Okay? So it was worth it, right, Faith?
Yes, Miss.
Yes, yes, Simone, you're ready, you're ready. Because
I'm ready to go.
I was gonna unmute her and tell her, hey, since she logged on so early, she should get it praise.
Serious?
We here, we here. You ready for them?
We're here. We're on the same track. Nice.
Congratulations, Faith.
Yes, congrats, Spain. Bouncy Mania, right? And Aisha, you will be contacted later today about your tickets, okay? Nice.
Yes, Miss. Thank
Okay,
you.
Miss.
Welcome. So we're off to a bumper start, right? We have our very dear Mr. Ricardo Mitchell with us, our Public Relations and Media Director. We have our partners, South Africa, Marion, Dr. Robin in the US. Anybody wants to say hi? We have Deborah in Dominica with us for a little bit. So we thank our partners for joining, and we would like to thank our sponsor thus far, Unit Trust Corporation. Without our sponsors, this program would not be possible. We're expecting a lot more of our sponsors to come back on board this year, so we'll keep you guys posted. And we thank Bouncy Mania for their contribution and partnership as well. We have Yvette in St. Lucia joined on with us. I see Sapphire is here. Lovely. All the way in the UK. Hi, Sapphire. All right, lovely. Melanie is back. Excited. And we have Angel and Aralia, who are our interns who's supporting us. So they'll be interacting. I think Maya is here as well. Yes, Maya, great. Somebody's logged on 1+ DE2117. Who is it? Can you identify yourself?
Miss Jofield, Miss. Tarsai.
All right. Can you pop your name in, please? And can we see your face? Yeah. Oh, lovely. How's Brianna today?
Good.
Good. All right. All these beautiful faces. My goodness. Wow. Okay, so today Right, so anybody wants to bring greetings or ask any questions or say anything before I start? I will be your presenter for today. Nobody? Any questions? All right, guys. So today we're on week 2 and our topic has to do with healing, okay, and mental wellness. So I'm going to bring up the presentation now and we are going to have an interactive session. There will be activities that you'll need to do. So you could probably have your notebook close by, pen and paper, right? You might need to do a little drawing. Right, so I'll be watching my screen. So maybe Aralia, anybody could help me maybe with the chat because I won't be able to see what's happening there.
No
So I'm
problem,
gonna,
miss.
yeah, thank you. I am going to share my screen now. Great, everyone see my screen?
Yes, we're seeing your screen.
Yes, miss.
Lovely. Right, so Dream Big Girls Empowerment Program, Shine, this is week 2, healing and mental well-being, understanding my mind. Okay, I'm sure that lots of times we try to understand how our mind works, why we feel the way that we feel, right? Yeah, I see Brianna head shaking. Yeah, we try to understand why am I feeling this way? You know, is this gonna last? You know, it's like we always wondering in a state of wonder, right? So we're gonna find out some things today that's gonna help us along this journey. So welcome to a safe space where we explore, we understand, and strengthen our mental well-being together, okay? Because what I've come to understand is that without mental wellness, without mental health, we can't do anything else. If you're not mentally well, you cannot do anything else, believe me. Your health is your wealth, and you need to guard it, okay, at all costs. So I am Simone Claxton, your facilitator. As you all know me, I am president and founder. I also do business development coaching as well. So I wear many hats in the professional arena. And I am the proud mother of Sapphire Miriam, who is with us today as well. Okay. Right. So let's break the ice together. So we're going to do a quick weather report here. So we want to see who is sunny and bright, which means you're feeling energetic, optimistic, ready to take on the world. Who's feeling partly cloudy, bit of mixed emotions, you know, some good moments, some challenging ones, and who's having stormy weather. They're overwhelmed, they're stressed, dealing with difficult feelings right now. So what I'd like you to do is to use your emoji and put your hand up, a thumbs up or something, if you're on the sunny and bright side like me today. How many partners do I have with sunny weather forecasts? Tap on your thumbs up. Right, Brianna is sunny. Who else? Oh, Aralia is sunny. Sunny and bright weather on your side. Okay. All right, so let's see. Who is partly cloudy? A bit of mixed emotions, you know. Come on, guys. We need to express ourselves, you know. So Aisha, good. Nice. All right. Take note of who's, you know, right? Jada, okay. Well then, by process of elimination, we would assume that everybody else now has stormy weather. So let me see. And it means if you didn't raise your hand, then what can we assume? So stormy weather people, you're overwhelmed, you're stressed, you're dealing with a lot of difficult feelings right now. Let's see you. Nobody? All right, so let's go over again. So we're doing sunny and bright because by process of elimination, a lot of people fall off this grid. Some people never raise their hand, so they fall off the grid. So let's go sunny and bright. So fire like you're thinking, girl, you're thinking. Sunny and bright. Who's sunny and bright today? Weather report. Right, Melanie, you change your mind. You're sunny and bright. All right, so partly cloudy, mixed emotions. Okay, so we have some hands popping up. Nice. Okay, so let me see who these people are. Right, so we have Clarice, right. Ricardo popped up his hand there. Let's see. All right, so stormy weather. Anybody for stormy weather? I ain't seen some people hand raising at all. Sapphire, what weather you having there today, girl? Like you're not even sure. Not even sure. You see, so that's why we have this program, because some people not sure. And that's okay, you know? Clarice, right, so Clarice says she having some medium partly cloudy. All right, Tahiri, what's happening by you? Yvette raise her hand. Yvette, you're having some stormy weather, girl?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, all right. Yvette's being honest, she's having some stormy weather. All right, so after this, we're hoping that everybody will be bright and sunny. Okay, guys? And you'll have a little bit more idea as to how you feel. So it's okay not to know sometimes. Sometimes we're unsure. That's all right. Right, so why mental well-being matters for Caribbean girls? Why does it matter, right? Mental health isn't a luxury, right? It's essential for thriving in school, right? You're all going to school here. You need to do well in relationships and how you relate to your friends, right? Your parents, your family, and pursuing your dreams, right? We spoke about dreaming big, okay? So 1 in 5 teens report experiencing depressive symptoms, but many suffer in silence due to stigma, especially in the Caribbean, because we have this stigma in the Caribbean, okay, that if you say that you're not feeling well mentally, or you're feeling depressed, or you have anxiety, people say that you're mad, right? And nobody wants to be labeled as being mad. So everybody keeps quiet and they suffer in silence, okay? We all have a mind, and once we have a mind and a brain, then there is mental well-being. So we all at one point in time either have good mental wellness or bad mental wellness, positive or negative, and it fluctuates, okay? It happens to everybody. So sometimes you're feeling good and sometimes you're not feeling good, okay? So we want to get on a scale where we're feeling good mentally most of the times. That's the side of the scale we want to stay on. And we're going to stay away from the other side of the scale a lot more. Doesn't mean it wouldn't happen, but we need to stay on the feeling good mentally side most of the times. So your mental well-being, it directly impacts your academic performance, because if you're not well mentally, you cannot perform well in school. Your brain does not work properly to do the work. Okay, your grades start to drop. You're not interested in going to school anymore. It becomes more difficult. Friendships become difficult as well. You're not feeling to talk to anybody. You don't want to become, friends with new persons. You shy away, right? Family relationships become difficult, okay? And the ability for you to chase your big dreams, okay? As we spoke about last week, dreaming big. So when we understand our minds, we gain power over our futures. Ladies, understanding your mind, that's the key to success. When you understand how your mind works and why you feel the way you feel, and how to make yourselves feel better, put yourself in a condition to feel better most of the times, right? You unlock the key to success there. You have to keep in a positive mindset, okay? In order to unlock the keys to success. And when you understand how your mind works, you're on the right track. Something went right. So, what is mental health really? Okay. Mental health has to do with emotional well-being, understanding and managing your feelings, right? From joy to sadness to anger. Mental health has to do with how do I feel emotionally? Do I feel sad? Do I feel angry? Do I feel happy? Right? It's about how you feel emotionally. Most of the times, do I feel happy? Most of the times, do I feel sad? Is it a mixture of feelings? Do I feel overwhelmed, stressed, frustrated, to give up? Understanding how you feel emotionally. Mental health has to do with your social connections, building healthy relationships and feeling connected to your community. Okay? When you experience good mental health, you build good relationships. And when you experience poor mental health, you don't feel like building relationships. You shy away, right? You become more isolated. Okay? So these are some of the signs. So it's good to know the signs, because once you can recognize the signs, then you can hold that process, okay? And move towards the positive direction. Psychological strength. Mental health has to do with how you feel psychologically, developing resilience, coping skills, and the ability to bounce back, right? So as I said, we will all feel, on the negative side sometimes mentally, but we want to stay on the positive side of feeling well and happy. Okay, so we want to be able to cope, find those coping skills. Okay, it doesn't happen by chance, right? We have to learn the coping skills and practice it. Okay, and that is what we will do today. We have to develop resilience, right? To be able to bounce back from any situation that we are in, right? Because life will hit us. Once we're alive, we're living, there will be challenges. Okay, but it's how we cope with them. And we have to find ways to cope and to bounce back from our situation. So there will always be situations. So mental health isn't just about feeling happy all the time, right? It's about having the tools to navigate life's ups and downs, because there will be ups and downs, right? And the good thing for you young ladies is that you learn how to navigate these ups and downs now while you're young, right? If you lay a great foundation now with your mental health, then you would experience more positive mental health later on in life, okay? It's about learning the tools now to be able to lay that foundation so that you can live a more happier and fulfilled life, okay? You're able to handle the challenges, because remember, you're young now, and the challenges that you experience would be less or smaller than the challenges of an adult, because you haven't gone into that phase where you have to pay your rent and you have children to take care of and a husband, and a career and all of those responsibilities. When life hits you in that way, if you do not have the coping skills, then it's going to be a lot more problems. So you're in a good place now to develop the foundation to cope with life's challenges later on. And that is the purpose of this program, to be able to equip you ladies to be able to cope with the challenges that lay ahead. Because academics can only put you so far, right? You can have all the degrees in the world and you don't have the skills to cope with the challenges of life, you'll get nowhere. I can guarantee you that. Okay? So education is great, but we need the skills to cope with life itself. So we're understanding mental illness today. So mental illness occurs when emotionally or behavioral challenges significantly disrupts your daily life. Okay? So when you have this kind of disruption mentally in your mind, where you don't feel like going to school, or you maybe don't feel like interacting with persons, you can't function normally as how you do, okay? So we're leaning more on the side of mental illness as opposed to mental wellness, where we feel happy and joyful and looking forward and hopeful, okay? Important truths. Mental illness is not a character flaw, okay? So nothing is wrong with you. It's not a weakness. You're alone not going through this, right? Or something you can just snap out of. Because in the Caribbean, we have this mentality like, oh, just get over it, snap out of it. Oh, you're just playing, right? I'm sure maybe your friends, or family members may have just told you that, not understanding what you're actually going through, right? And it's something that if you haven't gone through it yourself, it's difficult to understand until somebody, you actually go through it. Because somebody may tell you how they feel, but you really don't understand how they feel until you've actually been down that road before. A lot of times with mental illness, it's that way, okay? So just like diabetes and asthma, it's completely treatable, right, with the right support. Now, the right support, I will stress, because we have a kind of medical system in the Caribbean, and I can speak definitely for Trinidad and Tobago, where it's writing a prescription for medication type system, where persons don't really listen to what the problem is. You go in and before you even sit down, they already wrote your prescription for something. right? So they don't have an idea what you're going through. They think, okay, this drug will fix the problem, okay? And they're medicating children as well, right? So we want to move away from that and be able to have the coping skills, right? As opposed to turning into medication, because as we all know, these medications have a lot of side effects, and especially for children as well, whose bodies, not, and minds not even developed fully to cope with it, okay? So having the right support, talk therapy, having a psychologist or psychiatrist, depending on the extent of the situation, having friends and family to talk with and supportive persons in your life will definitely help. We will learn some other techniques, music therapy, art, poetry, breathing techniques, etc. All those help you with your mental wellness, which we'll go through with in a bit. Okay? So recognizing when normal stress crosses into something more serious, okay, is the first step towards getting help and feeling better. Now, once you're living, you will have stress. We will have stress. There's good stress and bad stress, okay? Stress, when it gets to a certain extent, as we move from the normal stress and it gets more serious, it tends to affect our body in a particular way, okay? So we're moving from good stress into bad stress. The body is continually stressed and stressed for a long period of time. It allows the body to stay highly stressed. And then we're dealing with cortisol levels, and then the body cannot calm down, and your body just goes all out of control. And you find sometimes your mind is racing, you can't control what you're thinking. You're thinking all sorts of weird things that you don't normally think about. You can't settle down, you can't relax, you're not sleeping properly, right? You're irritable. And that is when the body stays in a stressed state for too long, okay? Has that ever happened to anybody here? Where they've been worried and in a stressed state and then they just can't seem to calm down? You're just not feeling yourself? Thank you for
Oh, for
sharing that,
sure.
Angel.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Especially
happened to
during
anybody?
exams.
Exams, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So we have quite a few persons here. Thank you for sharing, ladies, and being honest. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So, we're gonna learn coping mechanisms. Anybody wants to share how they cope with that when they're in that type of state of mind?
I would
Anybody
love to
wants to
share.
share? Yeah.
Yeah. Um, well, one method I use is like chatting with my friends, having a good laugh, whether it be
Yeah.
watching a movie, a comedy, to sort of de-stress, and also sleep.
Yeah. Sleep. Okay. All
Yes.
right. Nice. Thanks.
That's
Angel, you.
that's also
Yeah.
me. I would first I try to do my breathing techniques
Mhm.
because when you're in that, you hear me properly, right?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, because when you're in that moment where everything feels like it's stifling, you need to do the deep breathing technique so that you feel a little bit, your chest could open up a little bit,
Yeah.
and then I will do what Aurelia does. I usually either go with friends and we do something that we like in nature. I love nature. That helps you to breathe better as well. And you also watch movies or TV show, your favorite movie or TV show, play a game that you like.
Yeah.
I also want to say that Marian in the chat said she's had it where I cried for days for no real reason. And Aisha said, cry and sleep when I'm stressed.
Yeah. Yeah. So understand. Yeah, it happens when you're just crying. Sometimes you're not even sure why you're crying. You're just feeling to sleep, and you just want to be away from everyone. Yeah. Brianna, you want to share your experience?
So I have horrible anger issues. So sometimes when I'm stressed, I just listen to music. Or if it reach a certain amount of stress, I just like talk to you all sometimes just screaming my favorite because it is feel so overbearing.
Okay. Thanks so much for sharing that, Brianna. And Brianna, you're not the only person who feels that way and who goes through that and who uses those methods, you know. Believe me, I'm sure a person's here honest with themselves. Somebody else has done that before. Right, guys? Right. So you said you have anger issues, Brianna. So what you need to do is to have a look at why. We need to get down to the root cause of things. There must be a reason why you're angry, why you feel that way. And when you start addressing things from the root as to why, then you can deal with it. Okay? And that is what we're here for. We have our in-house psychologist, Mr. Dexter Develop, who came last week and shared a few words with us, and his wife, Camille. Okay? So we have them on board. So if you ladies would, like to talk with them and you need that support, they are here to help you work out those issues, okay? Because the earlier that you could work out these issues, the better for you. Because when we move from childhood into adulthood with anger issues, it doesn't get any better. I can tell you that. Because for now, you might be able to cop the wall or scream in your pillow. But when you become an adult and you go out into the real world and somebody talk to you on the job and you get angry, well, you ain't cuffing the wall, then you're cuffing them, right? Or you might pull out a gun and shoot somebody, right? It escalates, right? So, and then you might end up in jail for anger issues, which looked very little at the point in time, but because it wasn't dealt with, it ended up escalating into certain, things which we don't want it to reach there, right? And that's why you find you have families and who chop this one and who pull out a gun and shoot this one, always have some drama going on because people have anger issues which haven't been dealt with. So the earlier, as I said, you all are at an advantage now where you can get the help to deal with the issues, because if you don't deal with them now, they don't just magically go away. I can guarantee you that. Take my word for it. They don't go away unless you deal with them. So try to start dealing with them now while you have the support so that you could cope better on, because life is going to get harder. It's not going to get any easier, I can tell you that. Right? More responsibilities come, it's going to get a little harder. So the secret is coping mechanisms and building that resilience and resolving the issues now to be able to cope with the issues that come in the future. Melanie?
Marian says she finds dancing helps her. Even just in her room, she dances. And she said
Yes,
eating helps her sometimes as well.
yes, yeah. Dancing really does help, dancing and music and just that
Yes.
movement, that body movement, and just releasing. And eating is good, but comfort eating, I've always had that problem, seriously, right? And when I
Me
look back
too.
since a child, yeah, that comfort eat, food is my favorite, food and sleep. Those are my two favorite things, I'm telling you. So I'm trying to come out of them, right? So the eating is comfort eating, and you find that suddenly you're not hungry, but you're just feeling to eat, and you're just eating, right? And that's how we have coping, right? So we have to move away because those methods end up in problems because that comfort eating leads to health issues later on, right? And that oversleeping leads to other issues where you miss out on opportunities. You cannot function in a job, right? Because you're always tired and you're feeling to sleep, or you don't want to be around people. So we're looking at dealing with the root cause of things now so that we will set ourselves up for success later on. Melanie, let's go.
Yes, so I don't feel comfortable about sharing my coping mechanisms, but I have had a lot of experience with mental health, and from what I've learned is that with if you need to get help before you can help others, because if you are in a mental health breakdown or in a state where you are not feeling at your best, you cannot help others. And that is
Yeah.
one thing that I had to learn. Like, it took a lot of time because if you were to help somebody when you are not mentally well yourself, it ends up draining you even more.
Oh,
But
yes.
sometimes, it, for some people, personally, me, if I help somebody, I could help them, and it kind of helps me in a way. You get a little closure and you kind of understand the advice you give to the person, you take it yourself.
Yeah.
But it's up to you to follow that advice or not, because you can hear advice, you can say that's a good
Yeah.
idea, but it's up to you. And one thing about coping mechanisms, all and great. And sleep is something that I understand, sleep and music, but there's always a reason for anxiety, depression, stress issues. So when you sleep, you just push aside those emotions for a period of time. I know it takes a long time to understand, but I know it takes a long time to understand what's the reason and cause, but
Yeah.
if you sleep, you don't get the time to assess the situation. Yes, sleep is good, but don't try to sleep to forget what you're dealing with, because you have to face the situation or problem in order to resolve it. Otherwise, it will keep chasing you. And sleep is just you running away from it, but it's always there.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thanks so
that's
much, Melanie. Well, I think Melanie talked about the lecture there to close up. Yeah, Melanie? No,
Yes.
for real. Yeah, yeah, for real. I am telling you. Sometimes we sleep to try to avoid it. It's still there. We have to face it. Yeah, you're so right. And when we're in that stage where, helping others, it helps us to feel better as well. But we just have to be careful, because if we help others when we're in a state that we're so low, we're not able to give the best of ourselves. So first we have to help ourselves. It's like when you're on the airplane and they say if the oxygen mask drop, put it on you first and then help someone else next to you. So if you are not well, you cannot help, no matter how much you want to do. And it's something I had to learn for myself as well, because I wanted to do and do and do and help. But then I wasn't in a position to do and help. I had to sort myself out first. And all the people kept telling me that I wasn't doing that. And eventually I had to learn that that is how it needs to be done. You have to sort yourself out first. You have to be strong and mentally well, and then you're able to help others. Because if you're not, it drains from the little energy that you have, right? It really does. And when you're becoming mentally well, it's good to surround yourself in the right environment with the right people, because you could be starting to walk up a step and you surround yourself with the wrong people and they pull you 2 steps back. And you keep going up 2 steps and back 2 steps and up 2 steps and back. And you're not getting anywhere. So it really is a time when you need to lock off, surround yourself with the positive people, with the right influence, and build yourself, right, to become strong, to be able to face the world. And not everybody will understand that, right? But you have to do what is best to protect yourself, because you're in a very fragile state. And if you don't get well, you cannot do anything for anybody else. It's reality. It really is. And it's something that we have to learn. I'm so happy that you young ladies are learning this early o'clock in the game, because I'm telling you, when life hits you, you really need the tools to be able to face it, because all sorts of things that you never thought would come up in your life would come up, believe me. But once you have the tools to face it, you will survive. Angel?
Marion in the chat says, I guess a lot of her anxiety has to do with how other people behave, and how she's asking, how can we cope with other people's behavior towards us?
Yes. Wow. Thanks, Marian, for raising that. Right. Other people's behavior and what other people think of you, because especially as teenagers, it really matters. I mean, for adults, it matters, but much more for teenagers, how other people see you, what they think of you, whether you're a good person, whether you're pretty, it really matters, right? If somebody say, well, you're not pretty, or you're fat, or you're ugly, or something, it bothers us, it hurts us, right? What you have to do is you have to become aware of yourself. And it's like what we did last week. You become self-aware. You learn your strengths. I am beautiful. I am good at this. I am talented. I have this to offer. So you learn about your strengths. You're aware of your weaknesses. You work on it. You become self-aware. You discover who you really are. So that's why we started there. Once you discover who you are, right, and you know how precious you are, I am a child of God. I am a child of the King, right? And no matter what anybody thinks of me, That's their opinion. The fact is that they have a brain and they could think. So nothing wrong with that. Just like you have a brain and you could think. So if they think that you're not a nice person, or you're fat and you're ugly, or you're skinny and you're whatever they want to think of you, or you're not a nice person, that's their opinion. Their opinion has nothing to do with what you really are, right? You know who you are. And once you know who you are, right, it doesn't matter what they think of you. Now, there's nothing wrong with constructive feedback. If somebody comes and says, well, Melanie, I think maybe you should do this way, or maybe that wasn't the right thing for you to say at that point in time. Nothing is wrong with constructively criticizing somebody, right? But if somebody is, being destructive in the way that they talk to you, then, that's them. It's on them. You should not let that affect you, right? Let's have Ricardo. We're not hearing you. You're muted.
Yeah, not accustomed. So yeah, I'm not really good at this camera and microphone thing, and that's a joke. I'm really good at it. So guys, man, that was a really, really good question, Marian. And Simone, I love how you approached it because you're right. What people think of us does impact how we feel about ourselves. You can't just say, well, don't study them or die nothing. It doesn't really work like that. We all like to feel proud of what we've done or how we look. We like the satisfaction we get when someone says good job or I like your outfit or hey, who do you hair looking real nice. We also don't like when somebody tells us something negative. So we have to acknowledge that other people's words matter. Now, the thing is, we can't control other people's words, and we can't even control how they make us feel. But what we can do is decide how long we're going to keep them. We can decide how long we're going to hold this thing that this person has given to us. Sometimes is the thing that somebody gives you is not a good gift. You don't have to keep it. Now, I am not a tall fella, right? By Afro-Caribbean male standards, I am average height. In some countries, I would be tall. In most countries, I am not tall. And that's okay. When the issue of my height comes up, which is a big deal for guys, I would tell them, I'm not short, I'm concentrated, right? Is just more greatness in a shorter package. So that's more greatness per square inch. Ease me up with that.
Oh, yes.
There was a thing we did in our training session this week where I was sharing with the team about how to communicate, and one of the things is reframing. It's about reframing. Now I told them that I wasn't sick, I was fighting a virus. It wasn't a case of, well, something happened to me and I just park up and it's doing me what it want. I am actively fighting this virus. So I am no longer a victim of this thing. I am active in it. So reframing helps in this situation as well. I remember, and I'm talking very, very directly here because everybody here has been told something about their parents that hurt. And if it never happened to you before, well, God bless you, but it probably coming. So the truth is, let's look at how we could deal with this thing that has happened or will happen. If somebody tell you too dark, tell you that you're too dark. And we wouldn't even go into the whole history of why that's such a big deal in the Caribbean. But and there's Emancipation Weekend too, worse yet. But if somebody tell you you're too dark, I remember a friend of mine in school, he tell everybody I'm not too dark, I'm extra chocolate. And chocolate expensive. And everybody like chocolate, right? We could the things that people say to us, even if they mean it as weapons, the thing is they generally might be attacking something. But nobody does try to rob a bank that have no money. Nobody does try, nobody will climb a mango tree with no mango. If this
Yeah.
person is coming at you, there is something about you that is valuable. And if you reframe this attack and say, wait now, what is this person attacking? I mean, it might have something good in it. So I like to read. I wearing glasses. You calling me four eyes? And I say, no, it's not four eyes. I just see more than everybody else. Again, what is the thing about you that somebody might attack but really has value? So the only way to, I am saying this, the only way to treat with the way other people going to treat you is for you to know who you are. Simone is right. That's why we started last week with the session with Camille. Right? Integrity and musical and grateful and who are you? I know I'm not tall, so if you call me short, well, that's not going to bother me. But this short is concentrated, right? My hair might be hard. It's like, no, my hair not hard. It is just the wrong climate for that. You understand? And what is hard here? And what is off here? And what is good here? And what is bad here? Here is here. Here is here. So I might be a little thick. I'm not thick, I'm saucy. There's more me to love. There's more me to love. It's so much love inside this body. I need a little extra body to carry it. What you telling me? I mean, not skinny. I'm not skinny. I lean. That's because it have places that only I could get into. There are ways to look at the things about us. And now that's just the physical things. I'm not tall. I just need a better view than everybody else because I have further to go. I mean, there are ways to look at the elements of your character. God made you beautifully. He made you beautifully, but the catch is for what? So now I'm going to show you a little trick that I've been using. And someone, sorry to hijack, but that was a real important question. And this is an important thing when it comes to healing. We can't take away the hurt that somebody has hurt us, but we can aid its healing. Now, I want to tell you something. If you're crossing the road and a car bunks you down for spite, and a car bunks you down by accident, it's the same bunks down you get. There are people who are going to hurt your feelings even if they don't mean to. They might tell you something and they don't know that they're insulting you or that they're on a sensitive spot or that they're making you feel bad. They might not know. But as I say, the bunks down is bunks down. Hurt is hurt. And you will find some of it like, oh my gosh, you speak really well. Or, hey, I didn't know you were so bright. And it's like, wait, what I was supposed to mean? Oh, you look good in that dress, girl. Like, I mean, thanks, but what you're saying is you didn't expect me to. Everybody else looking good. There are things that people would see. Oh my gosh, I love your accent. You speak English so well. Well, yeah, I talk in English my whole life. English is my first language. You will meet some things that I will tell you. Who you are is very, very closely tied to what you're for. So when I was younger and I had an anger issue, I realized that I couldn't let my anger control me. I had to learn to control my anger. When I got older, I looked at what was the root of my anger. I feel injustice very, very strongly. When I see something that is not fair, it upsets me. As I got older, I realized, wait a minute, I don't have an anger problem. I have a strong sense of justice. But so as to not let that strong sense of justice cause problems, I had to find ways to treat when I see injustice. Instead of getting upset about the thing, how can I help bring justice? If you're not treating me fairly, maybe I have to establish different boundaries. If I don't like the way someone is treating someone else, I might not be able to stop what they're doing, but I could help the person. So my anger was really passion because I cared so much. But it was anger that it was passion that I did not know what to do with it. So it came out in a bad place. Sometimes I'm sad, but I'm not sad because I'm sad. I'm sad because I feel helpless. I'm frustrated. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to. Sometimes I feel anxiety, but anxiety sometimes comes from all of these things that happening at the same time, and you don't know which one to deal with first or how to deal with any. But really, that anxiety might come from being overwhelmed or feeling helpless. And you know what? Action beats anxiety. Pick one thing and work on it. Turn your attention from 100 different things into one or two things that you could put some work into. So there are feelings that we have about what is happening to us, about what people saying to us, and it's really because we don't know what to do with them. but they could become very, very powerful fuels for moving us forward. Right? There are there are things about you when oh, I find you too hasty. I'm not hasty, I'm zealous. I want to get to this thing. I want to make sure I want something to happen. But you know what I might need to do? Think before I act on it so that I could drive all that energy into a certain place. Or you always have an answer for everybody. Well, I do have a lot of things to say. Maybe I have to work on my timing. So it's not always bad criticism. It's not always attacks. Some of the things people telling you, you do have to work on. But the reality is you get to decide when this person gives you or tells you something, how long am I going to hold on to it? And what am I going to do with it? Am I going to reframe it as in something that I could use to build value? Is it something that I could work on so it's really an opportunity to improve? Or is it just a bad gift and I don't want it, so I'm not keeping it? I'm not feeling that. Yeah, it's given. So yeah, you can't control what comes, but you do get to decide what you do with it. Right, that's me there.
Thank
Oh,
you, Ricardo.
yeah. Thanks, Radhika.
Go ahead.
No, so Radhika message in the chat.
Yeah, Radhika's in Tobago.
Yeah,
Thank you, Angel. Love that. Thanks so much for that, Ricardo. It's spot on. You know, we can't control what people tell us, what they give, but we can control whether we receive the gift, how long we hold on to it, what we do with it, right? That is spot on, spot on. So, Marianne, I really hope that that helps. Knowing who we are, you know, that we are precious, and knowing about ourselves, how we feel, it will help us to navigate when persons throw that at us, how we take it, right? How long we hold on to it, whether it's constructive criticism, we adjust ourselves and move forward, or whether it's destructive and we just let it go. Melanie?
I'm hearing a lot of people with anger issues, and I know that there's a lot of mechanisms, coping mechanisms to help with that, like cooking, art, and whatever. But sometimes people lose interest in those things, you know? So I think that journaling has worked for me. It has helped me a lot. And I think journaling is one thing that can help you assess the situation and identify the problems, right? Because it allows time for you to reflect on the situation. But I know sometimes it's hard for you to journal when you are in a bad mood. That's why sometimes you have to force yourself to be motivated to journal. And I feel that once you start journaling, it's like it feels like you're talking to somebody. But if you're not very social, it's perfect. Like you could have a journaling app or you could journal in an actual book. Even if you have like strict parents or whatever, no one has to actually read your journal. No one has to know that you journal. Like you could keep it to yourself if you're not comfortable sharing that, or if you think that, or if you're protective of it and you think that people would read it. So you could keep it to yourself and you could always have it there. Is to just express what you're feeling because if you're angry, you don't want to go and argue with someone. Take the time to journal instead. You can argue with the pages. The pages won't judge, they won't argue back, nothing like that. Until you cool off and then it'll help to it'll help you to manage your emotions in a way, you know? That's
Thank you
all.
very much. Thanks very much, Melanie. That is so key, journaling. And part of our journey this year with the Shine program will be about journaling. So you guys would have received the journaling app. How many persons went into the app and started doing something? Raise your hand. Yeah, oh, lovely. Right, so Clarice and Shanika. Okay, nice, great. So journaling is part of this journey with the Shine program this year. So guys, I want to congratulate all of you who have gone into the journaling app and started doing your journaling. Wonderful. Because each week there will be a journal prompt, right? So that you will be able to go along the journey, right? And start reflecting as we go through the various lessons, okay? It is going to help you to really flesh out some of the feelings, some of the anger issues, depression, loneliness, etc. is going to help you to flesh out some of those things, right? So I'm really, really happy with the direction that this is going in today. I'm happy that Marian asked that question, and I think persons are more equipped now to be able to cope with when someone throws stuff at them. You know, what they accept, what they don't accept, how long they accept it for, and what they put in place to move forward. Okay? Lovely. Any questions before we move forward? Somebody had their hand up? Anybody? Right. So we live in the Caribbean, and the teen experience here is unique. So let's see what sort of pressures we have as Caribbean teens. We have the academic pressure, right? So the CXCA exams, we have the SCA. Well, don't talk about SCA. By the time SCA, that's a whole different ball game, right? Before we even get to the CXC exams, that SCA preparation is very stressful, and there's family expectations that you would excel, you would pass for a good school, what they class as a good school, prestige school, and then you go into the CXC exams, and then you have to go to A-levels and university, and there's a lot of academic pressure, right? Decisions, what subjects to choose, what career path. Nice. We're moving into the social media stress. Well, that wasn't a stress a few decades back. Well, maybe like a decade or two, yeah? Social media stress. Social media is new. It's the norm for your generation. You were born into it. In my generation, we didn't have that. So we didn't have that extra pressure, right? But for you guys, you've been born into it, and it's the norm. And you think that it's the norm, but we didn't have that. So we had a life where we didn't have to post everything online. We didn't have to show people what we were eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We didn't have to, you know, show people every time we put on a new outfit, every time we got a new boyfriend. We didn't have to post that up, you know, to show everybody, right? And so we weren't exposed to all this other cyberbullying and all the comments and who didn't like your post and who commented and how much followers. We didn't have that pressure, I can tell you. So, thank God for that, right? A life stressful as it is. So you ladies have that. So you have to learn how to cope with the social media stress. So there are times when you have to come off of social media to save your mental health, right? You have to make those decisions, right? You have to limit your time that you spend on social media. You have to find ways in which to cope, okay? Which we'll go through today. You're comparing yourself and your life, you know, with others because their life looking to get happier or better, going in a different direction than yours. But, you know, the grass always looks greener on the other side, you know? And anything could look wonderful on social media. You don't know what's happening in the person's real life, okay? Social media is a face. People show you and they tell you what they want you to know on social media, but you don't know what's happening in the background, right? So you have community challenges, right? So we have violence in neighborhoods, economic stresses at home. Some families, you know, may not be earning enough money. Parent might be sick, may not be working, right? And you have limited mental health resources as well. As I was speaking earlier on, we don't have that type of support in the public health system to cope with mental struggles, okay? So it's just a prescription type, you know, service that we have here. So all of these create that extra stress, right? You may live in a bad neighborhood, there may be guns and drugs, etc., and those type of stuff going on. And then cultural expectations, there's that pressure to be strong. There's a stigma about mental health, you know. You can't talk about it. You mustn't say that you're not feeling, you know, happy or you're not feeling well, okay? And there's the traditional gender roles as well, which could create that extra stress where girls are supposed to do this type of work, or be in certain types of careers, or be in the house, you know, household chores, and the male's supposed to be doing this type of, jobs, or not helping in the home, etc. So there's all that different pressure based on the maybe the race, the religious beliefs, etc., and where you're growing up. It's in your culture. Okay. Right. So these pressures are real. Okay. So we have to develop the strength and resilience to deal with them. So understanding our unique context helps us develop culturally relevant coping strategies. Any questions, guys? I saw a hand up. Right. So how does stress show up in our bodies? Right? Because believe me, it's going to show up. Whether it takes 5 years, 10 or 20 years, it's going to show up. I can guarantee you that one. So some of the physical signs, and you all will tell me if you all experience any of these, right? So there's a constant fatigue, right? Even after sleeping. So you're always tired. Always tired. I see you just shaking head, right? Even after sleeping, you're not feeling well rested at all. You're always tired, right? There's frequent headaches, stomach aches, you always have a pain somewhere, right? Muscle tension, especially shoulders and neck, changes in your appetite and your sleep patterns. Well, Angel, yes, girl, you can associate, right? Changes in your appetite and your sleep patterns. You're not feeling to sleep, you're going to sleep late, right? You're sleeping too much, you're not feeling to eat, you're eating too much. So you can go from one extreme to the next, right? So these are some of the physical signs, right? And most signs, in the normal medical system, you go and they'll tell you, well, okay, take a tablet for this, take 2 Panadol, and they don't acknowledge that it's the stress that's showing up in your body in these different ways. And you have to cope with the root cause of the problem. And the root cause of the problem is the stress. Stress will show up in your body in many different ways. But if you don't cope with the stress, then you cannot get rid of these problems that keep coming up, that manifest in itself. These are the symptoms, right? And to cope with the stress, you have to develop mechanisms now to get your body to relax. So your body is now in the sympathetic mode where it is hyped. You have to get your body to move into the parasympathetic mode, which is like a parachute. Parachute slows down your body. So parasympathetic, so you're moving from sympathetic into parasympathetic mode, where your body now slows down, it calms down. But to get from one stage to the next, it's very difficult if you don't know the techniques, okay? Because you might say, well, I eating, well, I sleeping. But if you don't combine certain techniques, you will not be able to move your body from that sympathetic, which is the highly stressed, constant stress state, okay, into that calm state where it could relax and repair. If your body never moves from that sympathetic state into the what they call the parasympathetic state in medical terms, then it cannot relax and it cannot repair. Okay, and then you find that you may say, well, I'm not losing the weight, I'm exercising, or eating right, I'm sleeping, but you're not really sleeping, your body not really repairing, right? And you cannot really lose the weight because even though you're exercising and eating, because your body is highly stressed. And unless your body don't move into that parasympathetic mode of relaxation and calm, then it cannot heal and you cannot become who you really are. Right? So a lot of people doing a lot of things and not realizing that the underlying stress that they're under is creating all the other issues and why the things that they're doing not working. Right, guys? The mental and emotional signs now, right? So you have these physical signs manifesting, and then the emotional side of it is that you're irritable over small things, the slightest thing ticking you off, right? And guys, I can tell you about that because I've been there, right? I've been there. I'm telling you about nothing I don't know about. Racing thoughts that won't slow down. So your mind just constant going. You can't slow down at all. You're thinking, and you're moving from one thing to the next, one to the next. Oh, I gotta do this. And your mind just going. And by the time you try to do this, you remember you have to do something else, and you leave that, and you go to do something else. And then you remember to do something else again, and you leave that halfway, and you go to do something else. Angel, and you're shaking your head, girl. Right. Right, you see? So yeah, and difficulty concentrating on anything, your schoolwork, on work, you can't concentrate. Brain feeling foggy, you're feeling hazy, you can't think, you just can't think. Right? And you feel overwhelmed by your daily task. You know what you have to do, you know, but everything just seems like it's too much, I can't get this done today now. And then you leave it for the next day, and leave it for the next week, and then leave it for the next month. And it's piling and it's piling, and then it becomes just too much. And you say, nah, I give up, I can't cope, it's too much, I can't. And then everything shuts down. And then you don't want to wake up, you don't want to eat, you don't want to see anybody. Everything just shuts down. Guys, you don't want to reach there, believe me. You don't want to reach there. Deal with it now before it reaches there. I can tell you it's not a nice place to be. Okay? So let's deal with it now while you have the help. As I say, we have our in-house psychologist. That person is available, for you to talk through your issues. Let's use the resources that we have. There's loads of other resources as well. You'll have a responsible adult within your network that you can talk to, a safe person. There's online resources, there's books you can read. Get this help. We are here to support you throughout this process, okay? But understanding first how you feel is important, and why you feel the way that you feel is because your body is in a stressful state, okay? Chronic stress. And it needs to move from that sympathetic to parasympathetic, where you have your parachute to help slow down and calm things down, okay? And then your body will be able to relax, to repair, you'll be able to sleep better, okay? And you'll be able to get the results that you need, right? Because stress is the underlying cause of most, or practically every disease. It starts with stress. Your body remains in a stressful state for too long, and your cells cannot function as they're supposed to, right? Then the cells start to go all over, they start to go crazy. They can't do their normal, duties of cleaning out, right? Because when we sleep in the night or the day, mainly the night sleep is very, very important. The body repairs, so it cleans out the cells, right? So this is an inside job that's taking place, and we have no control over, and it replenishes itself, okay? And we're up and ready to fight the next day. But if you're not getting sleep, your body not repairing, it's not cleaning out the waste from the cells, right? Everything remaining there as it is, and the body cannot function. It cannot hold the amount of oxygen in the cells it's supposed to. Without oxygen, there's no life. Okay? As simple as that. So on a cellular level, if your body is not getting the oxygen it needs, it's not being cleansed, it's not getting the right nutrients, then you might be eating food, but the food is not doing what it's supposed to do. Your belly full, but it's not doing what it's supposed to do. Your brain not getting nourished, okay? And then everything starts to shut down. If the brain not getting nourished, everything seems to be too much to do, too overwhelmed, can't concentrate, irritable, etc. And all the other physical manifestations, a pain here, a pain there, tiredness, can't stay awake. All of these things start happening. So it's a spiral effect. So stress, the root cause of all diseases, we have to get the stress under control for everything else to take place. So we're going to learn today how to get that stress under control. Now, for the best of us, we still get stressed there. Even though we have all these techniques, believe me, we still get stressed. So, recognizing anxiety in teens, constant worry. Mind always racing as we talk about what if this doesn't work out? What if I don't pass this exam? What if? Okay? You're overthinking the whole situation. Physical restlessness, right? Butterflies in the stomach, you're feeling restless, energy all the time, just going, can't settle, right? And you're feeling like you need to escape. You just want to get out of this place. I can't cope. I just want to, it's a feeling that you want to just escape. It's a restless kind of feeling, right? So you have a social withdrawal aspect of it too, right? So you don't want to be around persons, you're missing events, you don't want to partake in anything in school, right? You always have an excuse, right? You're avoiding your friends, etc. You don't want to answer your phone. Sleep disruption, right? Couple hours passing in the night, you can't sleep. You're waking up, tired despite being in bed for hours, right? So anxiety often disguises itself as perfectionism or being highly responsible, right? So you always want everything to be so perfect that you're over worrying about things, right? And that is anxiety. Okay? If worry is controlling your choices, it's time to develop new coping tools. Okay? So when you make choices, is it because you're just worrying about this and worrying about that? Or you're really just evaluating, okay, this is what I have to work with. Where do I go, left or right? Or are you just constantly worrying, what if, what if, what if, what if? Anybody ever felt anxious in their life? Anybody could associate with any of these things? Yeah?
Definitely.
Yeah?
Oh,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah? Yeah, nice. So we recognize the anxiety and then we have to find a way to deal with it, right? So anxiety and depression normally go hand in hand. Okay. So once it's anxiety, normally there will be depression accompanying it as well. So depression isn't just feeling sad, right? After a bad day. It's persistent feelings, right? Of sadness, emptiness, numbness, hopelessness, right? For a few weeks. That is the medical kind of diagnosis, for a few weeks or longer, right? So months going on and you're just feeling the same way, hopeless. I don't feel to do anything, feeling very down and low. Okay. So common signs include pulling away from your friends and your family. You're losing interest in the things that you once loved. So you love to draw and to do drama and to sing, and you're just really not bothered anymore, Low energy. So in Caribbean culture, depression is sometimes dismissed as, oh, you're just being moody, right? Or pray harder, you're not praying enough, right? But depression is a real medical condition, right, guys? And it responds well to proper support and treatment. What I would say is that depression and anxiety, it's linked to our diet. A lot of it is linked to our diet, right? In the sense that there is a gut-brain connection. What goes into your gut affects your brain, right? And I don't know if you all notice that sometimes you might be feeling all well and good, okay, and the minute you eat something, there's something you eat, and the minute that thing goes down into your stomach, your whole mood changes, and you feel kind of gloomy and down and heavy. I don't know if anybody ever experienced that, or is it just me?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah? You noticed that, Aralia?
With roti
Ah, here you
especially.
go.
yeah.
Say
That
it again,
happened to me
Aralia.
like last night. Last night that happened to me.
What happened?
Literally.
Oh, literally. Okay. Okay, and Aralia, what did you say?
It has happened to me with roti.
Ah,
Same with
okay.
roti.
You love that roti, yeah? You're feeling for that roti. And the minute that roti go down, your whole mood just changed. Yeah, yeah. That's the flour, the gluten.
It's more of the
Yeah?
dry foods that has happened with.
Which one's Melanie?
It's more like dry foods like roti and bread and stuff like that.
Fine.
Yeah.
It's the gluten.
Fry foods and fry
Fry.
foods.
The
Yeah, and
oil. Yeah. A lot
The
of the oils is
oil.
soy and vegetable oils, and those oils are not good for your stomach. Right? And a lot of people are not aware. Now, this is something that I wasn't aware of 2 years back. I had to learn. So it's a learning experience. And as you learn about food and how it affects your body, how it affects your mind, and how it affects your gut, right? These are things that you should learn earlier, club. So I'm really glad that you ladies are here today and that you're learning this, because once you learn how it affects, you know what to do, right? So, for example, like the fried foods, Angel. So what you ate last night that happened? Fried chicken?
Yes, so I was on the road for a while and I was really hungry. And I was gonna buy Subway, but I was closer to something fried. So
That's the
I
worst
bought
thing.
it, I ate the chicken, and it didn't even feel filling. It just make me feel down. And I was like, why did I eat this?
Yes, it makes you feel down. And that is because remember your body was hungry. So your body needed those nutrients. It was craving for food in your
Yeah,
cells, the nutrients. And it meant you put things like
yeah,
junk. You didn't give it the nutrients it
Yeah.
needed, so it just slumped. And that
Yeah.
oil
You
would
just
have
feel
been
like
like
a
soy oil. Yeah,
you just feel like a down, like you're not sad about anything, but it literally just takes down your energy, your mood,
it takes down your energy.
everything. Yeah.
It does. It takes down your energy, and that is exactly what it does, right? Your energy levels in your cells drop, and it just exhibits in your whole body, in your mood, right? So that's why, especially if you're hungry, because you don't have anything to buffer it, you have to be careful what you put on your stomach, because as soon as that goes in, your body's craving for those nutrients. So it's pulling on whatever is there, and it's not getting it, and it just automatically, kind of just drains your body, right? So it's very important what you put into your stomach. It affects your brain, it affects your mood, and then it affects whether you develop anxiety and depression. It has a part to play in that as well. So you need to be consuming very nutrient-dense, rich foods, your greens, beets,
Marian
slightly.
says
Yeah.
Marian says sunshine also helps with depression, and Maya says chocolate improves your mood.
Chocolates, yes. Well, it depends on the type of chocolate. There's like for chocolate, not that sugar, milk kind of chocolates we normally buy. This is like
Yeah,
pure
cocoa
chocolate.
dark chocolates.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cocoa dark
cocoa and dark
chocolate, it
chocolate.
does. Yeah, yeah, because it has
Sometimes
a
you
lot of
can't help.
antioxidants.
Sometimes you
Say it
can't
again,
help
Tyler.
it. You want a sweet treat, you know? But just a tip for people, you could eat something fibrous before you
Yeah,
eat something unhealthy if you're craving it, because the fibers, it kind of absorbs the unhealthy
yes,
things and lets out well, the unhealthy things slowly into your system.
yeah, it buffers.
Yes,
Yes, yes. Thanks for that,
that's what
Melanie.
I
That's
always
so true.
do because I usually crave something very sweet and
Mm.
like I get cravings throughout the day, so that's what I usually do if I can, you know?
Yes. But no, that's true. If you eat something fibrous, like maybe like a salad, your vegetables and stuff, it buffers when the, more unhealthy things come into your stomach, and it slows down the absorption, right? So you have to learn how to eat. It's very important to learn how to eat. So I want you all to go back and research all of these things. How to eat, because you're supposed to be eating like maybe your vegetables and your fiber stuff first, and then eating your rice and stuff after. There's a way to eat. You have to chew a certain amount of times. What's that? Have a whole science behind this thing if you want to remain healthy, Tell it all, yeah. It's a whole science. Angel?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Marian also said something in the chat, but I'll say mine first. A doctor told me a time when you get sick from your lifestyle, when you get sick and they give you medication to take to aid with the sickness, if you continue eating the way that you're eating, the medication will only work so far. It would not cure you because the food that you're eating, the medication basically going on top of that, and it not getting to the cells where it needs to get because the
Yeah,
food is like blocking, all the things
yeah,
that the medication needs to get to. So you have to also change your diet in order for the medication to work. But most times, if you catch it in time, the diet will heal your body. You're supposed to be
yeah,
eating foods that's supposed to heal your body, not, disrupt it. And
yeah.
Marian said something that also helped me understanding other people is a book called The Five Love Languages. I know that book. If you can't get the book, you can get the information on the internet. And she said, I tried to please my mom for many years, trying to be a good girl and make her proud, but I could never make her happy. Then I learned that her love language is receiving gifts. And now I give her gifts, and she understands that as love, and our relationship has improved.
Thanks so much for that, Marian. Wow. It's amazing. People respond in different ways, because we think that maybe people feel the same way that we do. And what we want is, what they want, right? But everybody responds differently. So it's to learn the people around you and what makes them happy, right? And she learns how, her mother wants to receive love, and she gives her mother love in that way. And that is very interesting. I'm so glad you shared that, because I'm sure it's going to help someone here to navigate their relationship, maybe with their parents or even their friends, right? To learn the way that people want to be received and looked at and loved. So Aurelio, take note of that book, and we look to see if we could send out the link or whatever, you know, for the girls to remind them to check into that book, right? I myself, I have to definitely read it. Thanks so much, Marian.
I have the physical book. I don't know if I have a soft copy. I'll see if I have it on my
Okay.
phone.
Okay, great. That'll be amazing. Yes, ladies. So this journey, I'm telling you, we have to learn tools to be able to cope with it, right? So, and the gluten is very important to watch because we like our roti and our breads as Caribbean people. But remember now the wheat that's being grown now is heavily sprayed with glyphosate, okay, or Roundup, all those chemicals, right, from the US. Heavily sprayed. And it goes into the wheat, doesn't come out, right? They process the wheat and into flour, and then we consume that flour in our roti and bread, right? And it goes in and it disrupts our gut lining, right? Those chemicals, we eat those chemicals every day in our corn and in our wheat. And when it disrupts the gut lining, right, it allows toxins to seep into parts of the body that are not supposed to, and then we have reactions. And it's like an allergy reaction. And then we say we're allergic to things, but it's not an allergy reaction. It's just your body, you know, alarming you and trying to protect you, right? From toxins that are seeping into your body that is not supposed to be there. And then we eat the roti and we feel kind of down, and because it's going straight up to our brain and signaling to us something's not right. Okay, we're not getting the right nutrients because it's toxins we actually put it into our body rather than we putting in nutrients to heal. So we have to be really aware of what we eat, right? A lot of things on the market for us to eat in the supermarkets now are not really food. They can stay on the shelves for years because there's a lot of preserves, right? So the fresher we can eat is the better. Right, so we're learning coping mechanisms, depression and anxiety. Changing up our diet will help us to cope, right? Because we'll be better equipped with the nutrients on a cellular level to be able to make good decisions, okay? And to elevate our mood. Red flag warning signs. So dramatic mood changes. We were just talking about that, right? So you're feeling all right and you may eat something, that's it. Mood change. Or somebody might tell you something, you know, kind of off, and your mood change, right? Extreme highs and lows, unpredictable emotional reactions to normal situations, right? So normal situation, I mean, that you wouldn't really think much of, and suddenly now you find like, you know, it provoking a very extreme reaction in you, right? That's not normal. So these are some red flags that something's not right in your body and you need to make some changes, okay? Because if you don't make the changes, it's going to eventually get worse. There's academic performance drop. So you're doing well in school all the time and suddenly now, because you can't concentrate, brain feeling foggy, you know, you're all over the place. You're missing assignments, you're not doing well in tests, right? Grades begin to decline. Red flag. Major sleep and eating changes, right? Changes in the appetite, you're not sleeping well, sleeping too much. Self-harm thoughts, right? Thinking about hurting yourself, as Camille spoke last year with the cutting and the poking, you know, and you're doing hurtful things to yourself and wishing you could disappear permanently, right? All of these are red flags that something isn't right. Now, you don't ignore it, you get help. Okay, you get support, help is here, you're not alone. And this is why this program has been created to let you know you are not alone in this journey and that there's help, okay? You need to get help immediately. These are signs not to ignore. Right, guys, so we're going to do a little activity. Get your paper out. We're going to do a mapping my stress activity. So you will get to share. So I want Aralia to kind of step in here and help me out with this activity.
All right. So for this activity, we would need your notebook, right? Or a piece of paper, something that you can write on, your pen or pencil, right? So let me read it out. So let's get personal for a moment. All right, so take out your journal, a piece of paper. We're going to create a stress cloud. This helps us visualize what's weighing on our minds. So draw a large cloud, right? So you know how clouds look in the sky. They can be gray, they can be white, right? It can be all sort of shape. Draw a cloud on your piece of paper, right? And inside of the cloud, write down everything that's causing you stress. Anything that comes to your mind. It could be that you're hungry, that you're sleepy, that you have exams next week. Anything, right? Big or small, right? School pressure, family drama, friend issues, money worries, body image concerns. There's no limit, right? So you're doing that inside the cloud, and outside of the cloud lining, you write down your support systems and things that make you feel better, right? So we are here for you. We are one of your support systems. So feel free to write us down, and anything else, any programs that you know of. I believe, Miss, we have a list of options as well that we're going to share with them.
Yeah, we do have a list of options at the end, yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Yes, so we want them to take a 5 minutes and just write down everything inside of that cloud that's creating stress for you, right? And then outside the cloud, you're going to write down your support systems, okay? So you write down your support systems that you're aware of at the moment, and that's outside the circle. So we're going to give you 5 minutes to do that. Aradia, can you take note of the register, please?
Sure.
Hi, Natalie. Natalie's joined us from the Bahamas. Thanks for joining us. Natalie's one of our volunteers who's been working behind the scenes, and she's been part of the program before. She's been in Paris, and she recently returned home to take up her job. You want to say hi, Natalie?
Hi guys, hope all is well.
Hi, Natalie.
Hi. Right, so see these girls, they're hard at it, man. The pen and paper there. Wonderful. I'm excited to hear some of these stress maps.
Simone,
But still don't want to be on the camera. Go ahead, Ricardo.
yeah, that's the same Natalie from Paris who was talking about the food.
Yeah.
How the food not so.
Talking about the, yeah, that's Natalie from Paris, yeah.
Yeah. Glad to have you back, Natalie.
Yes.
I'm happy to be back.
She's a Caribbean girl now.
Yeah.
Yes, we want to congratulate Natalie for her job. She's in an accounting position at Ernst & Young, an international company. So congratulations, Natalie.
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Congratulations.
Natalie.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
She's done really well. And out in Europe studying, it's not been easy. It's not easy to leave the Caribbean and go to Europe to study. I know about that, you know. And Natalie really, and she was on her own, so she braved a lot of storms. I still had a lot of family support, you know. Yeah. So it's a journey. That's an encouragement for you young ladies here, that you can do it. Nothing is impossible. Natalie left the Caribbean and went to study on her own in France. Right? She completed her master's degree there, and she's back working for an international company. Nothing is impossible. Right, ladies, we almost finished. with that cloud stress map. So if you finish, you can raise your hand. The first person we'll start with is Katisha.
Hi,
Hi, Katisha.
hi, morning.
Morning there. Go ahead.
Apostle, maybe thing I write down.
Yes, so tell us what's in your cloud, inside the cloud, all the stresses that you're going through, and then outside coping mechanisms, systems in place to support.
Okay, inside is like school, well, not really school anymore. Home, uh, yeah, and
School and
outside,
home.
yeah,
All right.
and outside is my friends.
With
That's
friends,
it.
or one particular friend, or
Um, to have my two best friends and my next friend.
okay. All right. Thank you, Katisha, for sharing. Now, guys, with school and when, school and home stresses us, we want to be, as specific as possible because there might be a certain thing at school that's stressing you, maybe one particular teacher, it may be a particular subject. At home, it may be, I don't know, lack of finances, it might be a parent, it might be a sibling, right? So try to identify the problem as close as possible because once you identify the root problem, then you could address it. So we're here to identify the problems so that we could address them and get help. So who's next? We're gonna have to wrap up shortly. So let's go.
Let's go with Brianna.
Brianna. And then Yvette. Right, so Brianna, you need to unmute. I think it's gone back to muted.
So in my circle, I have overthinking, comparison, miscommunication, and friendship issues. And for my coping, I just listen to music, I just draw. Sometimes I talk to God and I just go for walks.
All right, thanks, Brianna. All right, guys, so you'll try to talk loud and clear. Yvette. And then Masani.
Hi.
Hi, Yvette.
So inside my cloud, I have a few. The first one is health, and to be exact, I losing my eyesight, and I don't know. The doctors don't know what's causing it, and I am battling with weight loss as well. Even if I've tried so many things, so that in itself is an issue for when it comes to health. Um, I would put money worries because I have to travel to for further investigations with regards to my eyesight, and that in itself is a bit of a stress for me because there's a lot that I have to do. My job because I work, dealing with adults that's acting like babies and kids, that is very frustrating. And outside of my cloud, um, my family, especially my mom and my favorite cousin, they help me deal with that. My phone, especially my gallery, so I would go for my pictures, and that would help me a lot. I have three close friends, they do help me, and my fiance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing those personal details, Yvette. I met Yvette in St. Lucia in February, and I'm very glad we met. So we'll talk, Yvette. Yeah? About the health
Okay, no
institutes.
problem. Yeah.
All right, nice. So is that Masani? And then we'll do Sapphire. Yes, Sapphire, smiling. Go ahead, Masani.
For stresses, I have stuff like school, like exams. I have trouble with social interactions. And for my coping mechanisms, I do stuff like talking to myself because it helps me clear my mind. And sometimes my hobbies help me cope.
Okay, great. Right, Sapphire and then Clarice.
I have quite a lot in my cloud.
Could imagine.
Well, I've been breaking out recently and it's quite annoying. So I put acne and like, yeah, skin problems and school because I'm coming up to my GCSEs and I need to work harder. And I haven't really started anything. So I'm kind of stressed. And my future and expectations and loneliness because I like being alone. But sometimes I wonder, do I like being alone or is it like just like being, I don't know, protecting myself or something. So yeah. And friends, like friend issues and boys, because I'm 15, and money and because I want money, because I want to get a bunch of stuff. And then outside my circle, I have my family, because I have my mum to support me, my grandma, my auntie, and my cousins that are like my sisters. So that's good. And I love music. So I can make music to make me happy, or I can listen to music, and that's fun. And also church. I like going to church and I have a lot of friends there and like a good support system there. And when I go to church, I can talk to God, and then it reminds me that I can talk to him outside of church too. So
Thanks so much for sharing that, Sapphire. But you know, only one word I heard for the stress part was the boys one. I didn't hear any other words for the stress.
of course.
Anybody else heard anything else for that stress part? Who laughing there? Aurelia, are you laughing at me? That was the only stress part I hear. Huh.
I
Oh my
thought you would have
goodness.
only hear that part. I thought so.
You thought so? Well, I have to get a stress club now myself because I feeling stressed. Huh. Look at problems here. All right. So this is reality, eh, guys? So as a parent, you have stress to deal with too. Nice. All right. Anybody else? Clarice? Where's
Okay, so
Clarice?
inside my circle, well, the major ones are Cape, God's plan for me, tertiary level education, like UE and stuff, because like I'm not sure what I want to do. And that ties into like what I want to do with my life versus like what God wants for me. And most of the times what is pop up, like frequently are like friends and like friends are like just help you to become a better person and stuff. And I really like picky with people who I choose to be around. So yeah, and outside my circle, like people who just help me and support me are like my sister and my mommy. And most importantly, talking to God and journaling and praying, because most of the times my sister and mommy doesn't understand. And you know, God doesn't understand like everything. So like the first person I turn to is always God. So yeah.
Thanks so much for sharing that, Clarice. Thank you. Anybody wants to share before we move on? Thanks, ladies. I know it took a lot from you to share, right? So what we want to do is the whole purpose of this program is to break the stigma of mental health and to let you know that there's help. right? So there's a lot of harmful myths, right? Just pray harder, it'll go away. Curbing people don't get depression. Mental health problems mean you're weak, right? So some empowering facts would be seeking help shows strength and awareness. It shows that you're aware of yourself, okay, and how you feel and your emotions, right? So seeking help, it shows strength and self-awareness as opposed to weakness. Faith and professional help work beautifully together. So having faith in God and seeking professional help when needed works together. Mental health challenges affect all communities equally, right? So everybody's affected, right? Sharing your struggles leads to healing and connection. So building your mental wellness toolkit, right? So we said that we learn various techniques. So one of the techniques that's really helped me is breathing technique. Another technique is music, song with music, right? That has helped me as well. Mindfulness practice as well, 5-minute meditation. You're scanning your body, you're looking around for things that could ground you, right? So you're using your senses, right? Sight, sound, you're listening. Can I hear something? What do I hear? What do I see? And just bringing yourself back into that presence of the physical, physical presence of here, I'm here, right? I'm here and I'm okay, I'm safe, okay? Creative expression, journaling, painting, singing, playing musical instruments, poetry, craft, whichever, works for you. And physical movement, we spoke about that dancing, we have our soca, our local, Caribbean music, beach walks, yoga, sports, right? So many of you said that you use a lot of these to help you to cope, right? Anybody uses breathing? Breathing, yeah. Angel, yeah, I use breathing. That's one of my favorite music therapy. Yeah, sound wave music. So Caribbean inspired coping strategies. As I said, we have our music, we have our local, our calypso and our reggae, dancehall, whatever we like. Our Christian music. We have the wisdom of our elders, and we have the daily gratitude through our journaling. Okay. Right. So we want to just do, as we wind down now, let's do a little breathing. Okay. So we're going to inhale, we're going to hold, and then we're going to exhale. So as we're doing it, we're counting. So we're going to inhale and count to 4, and then hold for 7 counts. And then we're going to exhale slowly. So we're exhaling slower than we inhale. So we're doing 8. So let's try it together. So close your eyes. Right? So let's go. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. And you're counting to 4 while you're breathing in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Count to 7 while you're holding your breath. And then you start to exhale slowly. And while you're exhaling, you're counting to 8. So you're exhaling like, just through your mouth, like you're pushing out, not your whole mouth open, but just like slowly. So let's go again. So we could do this about 4 or 5 times and you'll feel the difference. So let's go. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Right. Anybody want to say how they feel?
It feels like a reset.
Reset, yeah. Calm. Nice. Anybody else?
Feels like I have more breathing to do. But yes, it helps.
Yes, more breathing. Practice as much as possible during the daytime. Just take breaks and just do this breathing. You know, for like 4 or 5 sets, rest a little bit, do another 4 or 5 sets, and keep breaking up your day like this. And you'll see you bring more oxygen to your cells. Yeah? Yeah. And once we have more oxygen in our cells, we're able to function better. That's the whole key with the deep breathing, right? The holding is very important because it helps with the carbon dioxide because our body needs that as well. And then we exhale and then breathe again. Right? Anybody felt great with that? Felt a little more relaxed? Thumbs up. Or you didn't feel any difference at all? Yeah, thumbs up besides Aurelia and Angel. Anybody else?
Yes, that make me feel sleepy.
Sleepy, right, good. Yeah, because it means that your body's starting to relax. Yeah? So that's good. It helps your body to relax till you will start to feel sleepy if you do it enough times. Yeah? Nice. Because you're feeling relaxed. So it's doing its job. Right. So we have a support network, trusted adults. We have our school counselor and our teachers. We have coaches and mentors, family members, religious leaders and groups, right? We could turn to. We have the foundation here as well, and our psychological team, our psychologist, Dexter Debelat, and his wife. Peer support, you have your friends, okay? You have support groups. You may have like a club at school, etc. We have online communities with safety precautions, study patterns. Who checks in with you, right? Yeah. So you have study partners, sorry. So you may have a friend, you know, too, that you study with, and you can tell them, well, you know, sometimes just check in with me, you know, see how I'm going. Because, you know, I mean, I'll be feeling too, you know, happy these days. And they may message you and say, hey, you know, Maya, what's up today? How are you? Right? Knowing that you have true friends there to support you makes the world of difference, right? So when to reach out for professional help, right? The duration matters. If you're feeling that kind of sadness, anxiety, and hopelessness for more than 2 weeks consistently, it's time to reach out for help. If it impacts your daily life, you can't function to do your work or to you know, interact with your friends or to do your schoolwork, etc. Your self-care is being neglected. You don't feel like combing your hair anymore. You used to comb your hair 10 times a day, and now you don't feel like combing it once. You know, you don't feel like, you know, taking a bath and brushing your teeth and stuff, right? You're having concerning thoughts, self-harm, suicide, you know, it's time to get help. Okay, you're not alone, get help. Right. So as we wind down, we want 2 persons. They're going to practice this. So you have a friend who, you know, in need of help. So your close friend Maya, she's withdrawing from your group. She missing classes and she stopped responding to text messages and stuff. What can you say? And what you can do. So 2 persons, hands up, and let's role play. All right, but let me pick because nobody put in their hand up. See somebody who hasn't said anything. Shanika and Tahiri. Shanika and Tahiri. So Tahiri, you are the person who is going to console your friend, Shanika. You're having some issues, right? So Tahiri's going to speak to you. Tahiri, go ahead.
I will encourage Shanika to come to class by telling her how good and encouraging the classes are to us and other people that are in the classes.
All right. So Shanika is your friend. So pretend now Shanika needs that support, and you could pick out one of the statements we have online here. What you can say.
I
So
have
Shanika is your friend.
Shanika, I have noticed you seem different lately. I care about you. What is going on right now in this time?
And Shanika's going to respond.
Tahiri, I would like to thank you for thinking about me, but I'm not sure if I should say this.
Right. So Shanika, say that again. You were very soft. What do you want to say, Shanika?
Tahiri, I'm glad you care about me, but are you sure that you want to help me, or that I will just affect you more?
All right. So you told her that you're glad that she cares, and if she's sure she wants to help you. And what was the last part?
Or will I affect you in a negative way?
I'm not hearing.
Or will
Okay.
I affect you in a negative way?
Okay. Okay. So Tahiri, what's your response to that?
No, you wouldn't affect me in any way because I care about you not coming to class because it's in.
Right. So Tahiri, one of these statements you can say is, you don't have to handle this alone. I'm here to listen. And then Shanika, what do you say?
I would thank you for caring about me, but I'm not exactly sure if you could exactly fix everything which is going on.
So Tahiri, what will you say? Or anybody else wants to try? What should you say after that? You can pick a statement from here. Right, so I'd probably say, go ahead.
You don't have to handle this alone. I'm here to listen.
Okay. Great. And then, or you could say, would it help to talk to someone together? Right? So that she feels, better.
She could
And
say,
even
or I was just gonna say, she could say we can take small steps, and whatever I can't handle, we can go to a trusted adult who knows how to handle it better.
Yeah.
and even if I can't help, I can get to a psychiatrist to help me. I think.
Yeah. Yeah, psychiatrist or psychologist or a counselor. Yeah. Great. So these are ways that you can support your peers who are in need, okay? So when someone looks as though, something is going on with them, they're withdrawing, they're not responding text messages, not just to ignore, but, reach out to them and say, I've noticed something's different, you okay? I care about you, is there any way I can help? Right? And you help them connect with a trusted adult, right? You continue including them in whatever, you may invite them out to a party, or you may invite them to a study session, and they may say no at times, so you continue to invite them, okay? And continue to include them and make them feel, welcome. All right? Right, so we have some mental health resources here as we wrap up that I'd like you all to take note of, so you can please write them down in case you need. These are applicable to Trinidad, the numbers, and then there's a regional support, Caribbean Mental Health Network, and there's the Caribbean Alliance of National Psychological Associations. If you go on to the Caribbean Alliance of National Psychological Associations on Facebook, they have a lot of posts, to do with encouraging, encouragements. And then you have online resources as well, which can be accessed by anybody, wherever they are. So just check out these, because these may be options that you want to explore. And as I said, we have our in-house psychologist, Mr. Dexter Dibbolett from the counseling clinic. So if anybody needs support, please reach out to me. Aralia is in charge of the chat. You all could just reach out and on the chat to say that you need to have a one-on-one conversation. Yeah. Right. So I'll give you a minute to write down the numbers. We will also post them in the chat as well, Aralia. We post them in the WhatsApp group.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. So any questions, guys, as we wrap up? Anybody wants to share any experiences or talk about anything as we close off? I hope that this session has helped and equipped you with the tools that you need to cope with the stresses of life.
Yeah, hi guys.
Right, guys?
Just a reminder that something someone said earlier in the session. Remember, the issues that you don't deal with will eventually deal with you. The issues that you do not deal with will eventually deal with you.
All right.
Right. And secondly, remember, nobody tries to rob an empty bank. Right. Anytime people trying to take away something from you, your self-esteem, your sense of security, your sense of self and well-being, remember that they're trying to take away something that is valuable. They're not coming at you because nothing there. They're coming at you because something is there. Right? Remember to value the thing that they're trying to steal. So
yes.
This was just a really, really great session, Simone. I'm very, very proud of what it is I've witnessed.
Thank you.
Lovely interaction, guys. Thanks to all who contributed in voice, in text, just even in terms of sometimes the emojis to let people know that someone is there on the other end, because it is really difficult to have conversations and this is what people dealing with. So just a reminder to let people know that you're there now. It's make for a much more dynamic experience. So have a good one, y'all. That's me there.
Yes, thank you so much. We're gonna get ready to play our closing song in a minute, and we just want you to know that you're not alone. You are powerful. My mind is powerful, and so am I. So that's an affirmation to keep saying every day. My mind is powerful, and so am I. So, in your notebooks, one of your tasks would be to take a moment to write yourself a hope card. Okay. So 6 months from now, I want to feel, okay, and write down one specific step at a time, right? How you'd like to feel. Take this week to move toward that feeling. So every day you're moving a little closer to that feeling. What are you going to do to move towards that feeling? And in 6 months' time, you want to feel a particular way. You want to feel healthy, happy, vibrant, energetic, that you're able to do everything that you imagine that you want to do. It starts with baby steps, one day at a time. Okay? And remember, seeking help is not weakness, okay? Your mental health matters. Your dreams matter. You matter. Okay? Thank you guys so much for being so participative. I thank Ricardo for his contribution. I thank everyone for their contribution. Thank you, Aurelian, Angel. I thank Ricardo for his support and for his encouragement in making this week possible, Ricardo. If it wasn't for you this week, Ricardo, thank you so much. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed sharing with you guys. This has been a very personal topic for me. I've navigated all of this and I've lived to tell the tale, right? I'm not telling you anything that I've read in a book. I'm telling you what I've been through, right? I have navigated it and I am here. I have lived to tell the tale, right? So don't think it's unique to you and only you alone going through this. we as adults go through this. I've been there, done that. I'm here. Okay? You can do it too. Okay? So thank you everyone for joining in today. We want to just thank our sponsor, the Unitrust Corporation of Trinidad and Tobago, for their contribution and making this possible. And we look forward to all our other sponsors joining us on board as we continue this program. We will see you again next week for our third week, as we have 6 consecutive Saturdays, the last one being on the 30th of August. So we'll be in touch during the week with the information for next week, Saturday. Thank you, young ladies. Thank you, Gems. Thank you, everyone, for your contributions. And thank you for your support. It's thoroughly appreciated.